Good afternoon. My name is Whitney Lallas, and I'm a third-year law student and a student attorney at the Juvenile Justice Clinic.
My name is Reginald Parson. I'm also a third year, and I'm a former student attorney at the Juvenile Justice Clinic.
So as student attorneys, Reggie and I have encountered juvenile restitution frequently. Juvenile restitution, for those of you who may not know, is the court's way to compensate a victim for economic loss as a result of juvenile misconduct. But Reggie and I have seen how juvenile restitution can have a negative impact on Maine's youth, so we decided to do something about it. We sat down, we took a look at current law, and we identified the shortcomings in the law. We put together a proposed amendment. And after various roundtable discussions with policy professionals and juvenile justice advocates, we presented the bill to Representative Donna Bailey, who in turn became our sponsor for this bill. So this bill accomplishes four major goals. First, it prohibits the incarceration of youth for their failure to pay restitution. Second, it places a cap on the amount of restitution that the court can require the juvenile to pay.
Third, it requires judges to assess the juvenile's actual ability to pay. And fourth, as an alternative to restitution, allows for judges to impose community service to satisfy their obligation. Now, when I was a student attorney at the clinic, I had a client who was imposed restitution in the thousands of dollars when he was 15 to 16 years old. By the time I represented him, he's 21 years old and was still not able to satisfy his restitution obligation. This is just one of the examples of how failure to pay could ultimately lead to dire consequences well into adulthood.
And one of my most resilient clients has an outstanding restitution obligation from a case that was otherwise resolved 5 years ago. So after her 18-month commitment to Long Creek, which is Maine's Youth Detention Center, she was released to the outside only to be saddled by a hefty restitution obligation. Now, these many years later, she's forced to return to court to address that restitution obligation, and she has to reveal the intimate details of her financial situation and convince the court as to why her failure to pay that month should be excused. So these are just two examples of how Maine's youth is negatively impacted by this law. Unfortunately, there are many other similar stories such as these. So Reggie and I would like to highlight a few of the major concerns with the current law. So first off, the law fails to take into account that jobs aren't readily available for minors. In the off chance that an establishment is hiring, the youth needs to then go get a work permit. Once they get the work permit, they need to land themselves an interview. At the interview, they need to make a convincing case as to why they should be hired despite their lack of job experience.
Now, second, under current law, juveniles are allowed to enter into payment plans. However, failure to meet that payment plan could ultimately lead to a warrant, which could lead to incarceration.
And lastly, there are many more, but the last one I'll touch upon is that this current law allows juveniles to obtain a more favorable outcome if they have the ability to pay restitution. So in other words, a financially well-off youth can avoid harsher penalties such as incarceration to Long Creek. And as a result, Maine's impoverished youth are unfairly punished in comparison to their wealthy peers. So this current law, it has a discriminatory impact on Maine's impoverished youth. It is hindering Maine's youth and their chances for success. So it is time to address Maine's juvenile restitution law. So with that said, we would like to invite you to the panel this evening where we will be having a more robust conversation on juvenile justice reform.